Well, hello and welcome. Welcome once again to our Blue Star Careers webinars. Let me just make sure that we have sound here. We are live. We are live on LinkedIn, Facebook, our digital platform, The Neighborhood. We're also on YouTube. So thank you so much for watching, for joining us today. I want to ensure that all of you can hear me. There we go. Perfect. We are live and connected. We have some great discussion for you today. So thank you so much for joining us. These Blue Star Careers webinars connects our members across our various social media networks to highlight career opportunities, but also services from key partners. So this session is designated to increase awareness, to open doors to meaningful employment, but also for you to be a healthy version of yourself. Now, this week, we are excited to welcome TeleMynd. They are one of our original partners and proud signatory of the 4+1 commitment. Karen Dexter is here today. She's representing TeleMynd. She will lead this discussion. She is the Senior Director of Risk and Compliance at TeleMynd. Karen would also tell us all great updates that TeleMynd has been doing to support military families with telehealth, with mental health support services, but also she will share about career opportunities. So this is like a 2+1 opportunity for everyone to join. If you are looking for a remote opportunity and a flexible career in mental health, guess what? Telemind could be the right place for you. So please pay it forward, share with someone, let them know, tag them. Perhaps you're working on your current master's, you're current on your degree, and you're going to need a great place that is going to be flexible, portable, and remote from anywhere in the States. Then perhaps this is the great opportunity for you to watch, but also watch the replay and pay it forward by sharing it with anyone. So without further ado, let's get started. Thank you so much for supporting. Again, pay it forward and let us know where you are watching. We'd love to be able to send you shout outs as we start this opportunity, but most importantly, reach more members that could benefit from our webinars and our services. Thank you very much for supporting. Well, hello, hello. Once again, thank you so much for joining us this week. Please tell us, post us in the comments. We love to be able to send you shout outs towards the end, but also support your community in your states and really highlight more resources, knowing that you are watching and you are supporting, and our members will benefit tremendously. We are coast to coast. So Karen is all the way in the East Coast. I'm all the way in the West Coast. So like I said last week, let's see, share some love. Who is actually online right now and able to support West Coast, East Coast community. Karen, welcome very much to our network, to our community, to our webinar. Please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about you.
Thanks, Laura. Thank you so much for having me and allowing me to represent TeleMynd today. Hello, everyone out there. As Laura said, my name is Karen Dexter. I'm the Senior Director of Risk and Compliance here at TeleMynd. And I am an independently licensed social worker as well as an attorney licensed here in Massachusetts. So it's a little cold, but yes, here in Massachusetts. I've been with TeleMynd about 4 years now, the bulk of my career working in community-based services with children and families here in the state of Massachusetts, from direct face-to-face care to running programs with our departments of mental health and our departments of children and family, as well as an attorney. I primarily focus now on healthcare law, regulatory law, but in my private practices, I have worked in family law predominantly because families are near and dear to my heart. So I try to serve them in that way now as well. And in my spare time, I work with Boston College as well, teaching social workers. So I am happy to be here. I'm excited to be here. And thank you very much, Laura. And I'm a military spouse.
Go ahead.
I always forget.
Of course. When do you have time to be a military spouse
I am
without a
a
great career
military
pathways?
spouse. My husband just retired after 24 years in the Army and then Army National Guard. And we have two older boys now. They're older, so that's what gives me my time back. I have two older boys, so
Wonderful. Wow. When do you have time to be a mill spouse? For real. You are so involved. Thank you so much for all of the great work that you do. You have great presence in our community through the work, and we're so honored to have you here and to learn more about the opportunities, of course, how you represent Telemind, but also
yep.
great, just involvement out and about. But let's first just dive into our great discussion. But I want to know still a little bit more about
Sure.
you. So let's talk about that life changing moment. How did you get involved with Telemind, and why Telemind? Why was this like the place for you to sort of park a little bit of your
Yep.
time and support?
Uh, Great question. So I had, I have these two disciplines that I've spent time with my clinical discipline, my legal discipline, and really with my kind of life career with in behavioral health. So that's been my focus since way back when has been behavioral health. So Telemind it really offered this opportunity to finally combine the two and really work to kind of take my knowledge of the field and as a practitioner as well as my understanding of healthcare ethics and regulations and try to pair it together to really work with our team to provide the best quality we can and make sure we're doing things the best way we can to make sure the client experience is good, to make sure things are happening the way they're supposed to be happening and care is being delivered with the utmost quality and concern and that the clients can feel that through the initiatives we have and that's really what brought me here is to be able to combine my two sets into one and find that balance that I wanted to be able to use my skills in that way.
That's wonderful. What a great did you ever consider, I mean, did you had this in mind at some point when you were going through law school or trying to identify your practice or your area of interest? Like, I want to go and see
Yeah, yes and
healthcare.
no. Yes and no. I mean, service delivery has always been in my mind and consumer protection for lack of a better word like making sure the consumer on the other end has a really good experience or product and participating in that so in some way yes just being able to parlay that into behavioral health and the piece of the work that's kind of near and dear to my heart was just sort of a win so yeah.
Absolutely. Well, what a great job you have. And I think in a future lifetime, maybe I, would love to be able to, if I come back, that will be a great way for me to serve our
Yeah,
community a lot better. So thank you so much for all the great work that you
thanks.
do. Now we are going to dive in really quick and learn more about what Telemind. Just get an update because, as you know, Karen, Telemind was one of our original or one of our first signatories that signed up and raised their hand and said, yes, we want to commit to hiring military spouses, making environment a little bit better, more doable. And so we've had a great relationship over the past year plus since we've known about your great organizations. But we want to get an update about services,
Yeah.
anything that has been going on. So if you can please walk us through it really quickly for those who are just learning about Telemind right now, the quality of mental health support that you guys do, but also careers in general. So go ahead, take it over, Karen.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Yes, very brief, some slides just to give some highlights. Thank you for letting me share all that. But just on the next slide, Laura, please. Just a quick overview. So we are a leading provider of behavioral health services for our military members, our veterans, and their family members. And sort of looking at this slide, the thing I really want to highlight is we are in network nationwide for TRICARE so we can uh, provide nationwide service for our military communities. We are in network nationwide for our VA partners. We have a network of licensed clinicians and nurse practitioners and psychiatrists that is nationwide. And we offer both therapy and psychiatric med management services. And in terms of employment, we have a flexible remote working opportunity at several different kind of levels and areas of the company. So obviously our clinical network, we hire clinicians in all 50 states. Many of our clinicians are currently military spouses or retirees themselves, so they understand the culture. And then we have our staff, in-house staff. So at every level of the company, there is someone who either themselves was a spouse or a retiree. And go to the next slide, please. This is just a quick overview and just kind of mental health in general. The demand for mental health has never been higher. We have 1 out of every 2 military beneficiary is not able to access care, and we continue to try to work on helping with that. We have 2 million plus service members and veterans and their families that live in areas with very limited and low access to mental health services for many reasons, rural or distance, or very many reasons. And then, on top of that, there's 4 times the amount of adults reporting issues related to anxiety, depression over the last 5 years or so. Those numbers just keep growing, unfortunately. And we want care to be accessible as we can make it for folks. And why are we seeing our military families? Why are they trusting us with their care? Like I had mentioned, we have folks at every level, from our network providers to some of our in-home staff, that they themselves are veterans, they themselves are military spouses, and we understand the culture that goes along with being a military family member, or active duty and all that comes with that. We're in network. We try to make it as easy as possible for folks to get in. A really important point I want to make is that TRICARE beneficiaries, spouses, and children do not need a referral to get an appointment. You just have to give us a call or go on our website. You don't need a referral. The active duty service member does need a referral, but families and children do not need a referral. Spouses and children do not. So hoping that helps take a layer away, because we always hear there's still some confusion out there about that, thinking they might need a referral. And then we have our national network of providers that are available. We average a wait time of 9 days from receiving the referral to having a first appointment. That is the average, because some states it's less, and there's a couple of states that it might be a little more, but the average is 9 days. And many of our providers, due to their own military experience, they just kind of add that extra layer. And then some just have joined us because they really want to serve this population, and they themselves have gone and received extra training to be able to understand military culture, working with children of parents who may be in the military, and so on. And now hiring. Why do we hire? We hire military spouses, as our 4-to-1 commitment says. Military spouses have a higher unemployment rate, as many of you may be aware of, than the national average. We have it here at 22% unemployment rate, which is significantly higher right now than the national unemployment rate. We continue, we have kind of this double mission of is delivering service and care to the military population, but then also being able to have our platform be helped run by military spouses and folks who've had military affiliation. And to make that easier, the nature of the work is we have a remote platform. We have flexible opportunities that pop up nationwide for different areas of our staffing. As part of our 4-to-1 commitment, we have like I mentioned, our remote first roles, our flexible schedules, career growth, and these type of remote opportunities exist in both our clinical and non-clinical hiring. So that is our commitment to trying to get spouses and folks into our staff. And a little bit more about our mental health care. People first. We really want to make sure that we're reaching as many we can. Our virtual care, we are 100% virtual. We use a HIPAA compliant secure platform to deliver services where provider and client are on and should be face-to-face and on our compliant platform. We do serve ages 5 and above for both therapy and medication management. We do not prescribe controlled substances on our platform as just a policy. And then how do we support our provider network? We really take on the administrative tasks that most providers don't really love to do. They don't love doing the intake and the getting and the bookings and that sort of thing, and the billing. Of course, no one loves billing. So we take on those administrative tasks for providers so they can really just focus on providing good care, making sure notes are great for their clients, and the part that is really the service delivery. And then we work on the front and back end, so they don't have to worry about that. And we really work to make sure scheduling and their calendars are full, and we make that as easy as we can for our provider network. Next slide, please. So just kind of a very quick summary about TeleMynd. Over last year and annually, we're providing about 330,000 hours of clinical care and therapy to the military. 97% of our clients say they would recommend TeleMynd to a friend or a family member. 96% say they would come back, they would use us again. We mine this information. We really take pride in this information, and want to make sure people know, like, come give us a try. And how we optimize care, we really try to use sort of some intelligent smart matching, where we're really making sure that whatever you're coming in the door as your stated issues or challenges, we are working to find you a provider who feels like they specialize in those, they have training in those. We want you to have the best fit possible. So there's no changing. You can find someone and stick with someone for the duration of your care. And next slide, please. And that is our last slide. We do have one more slide with our information, which I think Laura will share. Yep. So here's our last slide, I promise. Information here on how to join our team. You can always go to our website and scan this QR code. You can look and see what opportunities are available. If you don't see something that interests you now or matches your skills, like, always check back. Things are always changing. And then if you're interested in accessing mental health care for yourself or a family member, our number is here, our website, as well as a QR code that we can help get that process started with you. So I really thank you for letting me share all of that, Laura, and happy to take questions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We have quite a few comments and questions in our um, system right now from various sources. So I'm just gonna make us back on
Thanks.
to so we can be seen, and then still shared a little bit of the TeleMynd logo on it. But I did wanted to ask you before I go to some direct questions from our members who are watching right
Sure.
now. Um, and then get a little bit of your take. In our careers community, right now this month we are acknowledging or we're building, our theme is healthy habits can lead to healthy careers, and so we're trying to spotlight a little bit, just food for thought, things that you need to do. I'm sure you went through the process when you are heavily searching for work. It can be a very anxious time. So what would be some great tips or recommendations that you have heard, you have seen, or maybe yourself applied, for those who might be looking for work but also doesn't let you get to the point that it takes over your day, and or it's just
Mhm.
disheartening sometimes.
Uh,
What are your thoughts
It's
on
a very super relevant question. We're going through that in my house now with my older son, where it takes over. It can really take over. It's they say looking for work is actually work. It's a job. It's a full-time job. So my my thoughts is really to attack it as it is a full-time job, which means you also need to build in breaks. You need to build in time where you're not doing it, because it can become very overwhelming. It can become very frustrating if you're not hearing back from people, if you feel like your resume is going into the great void and not getting anything back. And really spacing out the difference between just sort of cold applying versus trying to reach out and make face-to-face connections, because sometimes it can be re-energizing to make an actual connection with someone or do a virtual coffee date, or and just gather more information as you go, and find little ways to keep it reinvigorating the process for yourself. Because my understanding from, again, watching this firsthand is it's difficult. It's very difficult right now to sort of find what you want when you want it, and in the way you want it. So it's really patience and filling in the gaps. And sometimes that means doing work you're not thrilled about doing as a stepping stone to doing the work you really want to do. And being okay with that, being and feeling good about that still.
Yeah, absolutely. I know sometimes when you are continuously applying and applying without any success for a few months, especially if you measure it to the last
Mhm.
time that you apply for work, but could have been 2 years ago, 3 years ago, the landscape has changed so
Yes.
tremendously over the past year that it could really take a toll on your
Mhm.
confidence, or you can feel like, okay, what's
Mhm.
happening here? What's wrong with me? What am I doing incorrect? And sometimes it's just not the candidate, it's the
Mhm.
process, or it's just the system that is continuously
Mhm.
evolving. And employers are testing new tools, new technology, gadgets, new process to pre-screen numerous candidates that come in. And so, I think all of us just need to take that break and really reconsider just different techniques. And as you mentioned, just pause and maybe make some coffee dates
Mhm.
with professionals that probably will share a little more insight. Thank you for sharing your perspective, Carrie. Now, in the world of Telemind and career opportunities for
Mhm.
telework, what what has been your experience seeing some of those colleagues who are military
Mhm.
connected, but also offering the work that they do to support military families? How do you think they feel, or they have this particular role has become to be a little more fulfilling for them?
It's a great question. So I know that our, kind of our frontline staff, our folks that are receiving referrals or on the other end of the phone when potential clients are calling in to schedule appointments or talk about what's going on for their children. There's that extra layer of the folks that have been through it understand what they're saying. They have that extra level of compassion for what's happening, especially if it's someone coming from a similar world that they came from. And I think they have said firsthand, I've heard them say for like they feel like they're able now to give back or give some measure of comfort back, as a way to pay it forward from times where they may have needed it when they were going through something themselves very similar, or just the ongoing stress of moving, or the repeated having to change locations, weather, schools, all the things, and the stress, and like the stress that comes from that, and feeling like being able to just understand that in a way and try to help figure out what can we do to match them with someone who also might understand that.
Absolutely. I think that's incredible. That's a great formula right there that you guys have that commitment of hiring military spouses to be the providers, to be the direct connect for someone who's going through this very fast moving and fast changing lifestyle, but also be able to have that empathy like right on hand, because we
Mhm.
we build that community. We know we've been through it. Maybe it may not be all the same challenges, but similar, but we're very much alike. Understand what are could be some of those really stressors that could affect the lifestyle, and then it affects
Mhm.
everything, your living conditions, everything else. Karen, I do have some
Sure.
questions, but before I do that, let me just do a quick recap for those who are watching us on Facebook. We have our LinkedIn community as well supporting, and then we are a digital community. If you're watching, we are having right now a live uh, webinar with our friends at TeleMynd. They are here to talk to us about mental health support and just services for those who need, who just want to get a little bit more
Mhm.
discussions and get better, get more healthier, but also career opportunities for those who are looking in telehealth, who have social workers, who have some kind of specific training in mental health as well. So go to the website, and which I'll share with you in a little bit. Post your questions, tell us what you want to know, what you're watching, and we'll certainly will highlight those for you in just a little bit. And so we want to make sure that you get a little bit of both. Not only would you shop for great services, but you also be able to shop for a great career all in one and get a comprehensive support from a company that really offers the services and the support. So, and Carrie is a military spouse, and she's fighting for our community to really make great mental health services out there accessible for families. So, great, thank you so much for supporting. Um, can you share a little bit, Karen? What is the insights on the work-life balance and flexibility that some of the roles here from Telemind offer in having that advantage for some of our members who offer the services to military
Sure.
families?
So some of our roles are provider facing roles. We have a provider coordinator role that really supports and manages providers. We have our um, patient service representatives that are the front line to the potential client coming in. And those roles in particular can be very flexible. We have folks that work early in the morning. We have folks that work later in the evening, sometimes Saturday mornings. We have billing team members who work very flexible hours, and sometimes can pick up extra hours on the weekends. It it, it just allows for that ebb and flow. All the members, many of our members, in particular, on our exec team, have children or even older children, but we understand the importance of family and needing to sometimes attend an appointment or attend an event or do those type of things. And all of our managers really work with our teams to make sure you don't feel like you're having to miss important events and can find that balance with work. So there's basic kind of your 9 to 5 roles, and then there's roles that offer a little bit more flexibility depending on um, where you are and what the actual role is.
I love that. Thank you. I actually had a question on this other side of
Mhm.
the monitor posted about do you have any other roles other than a certified telehealth providers? Someone who's working to get into the field, but
Mhm.
they're not yet
Yes.
certified. And I think you just mentioned that. Can you recap a little bit of what are some of those
Sure.
roles?
So we are often hiring. We have what we call it's a provider coordinator role, and those are our in-house folks that are the direct links to our providers, and they're kind of who the provider would go to ask questions, to learn something about what's happening at Telemind, or just talk about their caseload. Or receive information. So they kind of each provider coordinator manages a group of clinicians. We have our patient facing kind of, we call it intake booking team, that type of role as well, where you're really either behind the scenes or on the phone talking to the folks that would potentially become clients or they're seeking care. And then we have billing, we have all those types of departments as well. We have a marketing department, we have those types of departments, and then yes, the clinical network, which are the independently licensed providers that provide the care.
Absolutely. Wow. Sounds like great opportunities for someone who wants to enter this field. There is some great opportunities to just get their foot in the door and then start experiencing and getting into the environment into the certified or they become more assertive in their career path towards mental health and support. So I love that you offer all those kind of opportunities also behind the scenes that also create great meaningful impact because everyone who is in a team is all navigating, they're all pulling
Mhm.
everything together so that the families get the services they need and they provide the resources. So, thank you so much for expanding on that, Karen. And I'm going to go ahead and real quick send review some shout outs here that are in our community. And I do have a question here from someone. Thank you so much for watching, Saida. Saida, all the way in Puerto
Yes.
Rico. Thank you so much. Wow. Thank you so much for watching and supporting. Saida is a caregiver to an Army veteran, and she's here for networking opportunities. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jasha, from watching all the way from Ohio. Thank you so much. And then we have Susie all the way. Amazing, amazing hard work. Thank you. This is great hard work for sure. Everyone here comes together. I do have a question here from Saida all the way in Puerto Rico. Does
Mhm.
Telemind have providers that work in
So
Spanish? That's a great
it's a
question,
really
Saida.
great
Thank
question. And we have Spanish speaking providers in many states. We don't have them in all states. We have them in most. many states that do speak Spanish. We predominantly have our Spanish speaking providers, especially in communities that we know have a large Spanish speaking community of folks, a large population of children and families that their primary language would be Spanish. We try to make sure we are bringing in clinicians that can, in fact, speak Spanish. So it's really very referral state specific to figure out what we can do with that information.
Absolutely. And, if, Saida, if we don't have that now, how about TeleMynd and I
Mhm.
commit to go and find
Yes.
providers in the
Yep.
near future? Because this is how we grow,
Yep.
team. If you know that there's a state, because I'm assuming, Karen, and please
Yep.
correct me if I'm wrong, providers have to be licensed within the state to provide the
Yes.
care for that particular or the community to be able to provide. So
Yes.
I know last year when we met, we were heavily conducting outreach for providers in
Yep.
California, and California was one of those states that there was a high demand for services, but not enough
Yep.
providers. So if we have providers that are needed more in Georgia, guess what? Go Georgia. Let's bring in and tag all of
Yep.
your mental
Yep.
health trainees right now, students, individuals who are soon graduating, and tell them about TeleMynd, telework opportunities here, and where they can find a home. If you have peers who are in the also in opportunities in specific areas that also are different states,
Mhm.
let them know. This is where they need to know as well. Thank you, Jilly, from all the way as well
Puerto
in Puerto
Rico.
Rico. This is
Yeah.
such a wonderful. Thank you so much for watching and supporting. We are so honored that it's reaching all the way over there. Thank you very much. Um, Let me go out here to our other monitor in Facebook, and I want to acknowledge some of our members from LinkedIn. I have Kristen, Heather, Johnny. Thank you so much, Lisa, Joseph. Andy, Linda Lee, I'm sorry, Dr. Michael, thank you so much, Christopher, and of course, Tasha, thank you so much for supporting. And then, of course, our sponsors community is pretty busy as well, supporting our members with comments and then watching. Thank you very much for the support. And then that's taking a little bit to update with my comments. But I do have another question for you here from our members that is asking the onboarding process. What could that look like, especially if someone is experiencing like. My question is like I'm PCS in the summer, but I would like to be able to think about the onboarding process. What does like look like so that I can anticipate? Some military spouses would like to be able to plan ahead as much as possible. Some of us, like me, I just kind of like I got to the point where I just kind of wing it. I'll show up and figure it out. But for a spouse who wants to figure it out, the timing, onboarding, the process, what happens when I apply, and how long would I potentially be selected or take if selected? Sorry, it's a long, probably
Yeah, no,
question.
that's okay. So there's obviously two onboarding processes. There's one for our clinical network and then staff that we hire in-house. It sounds like that's more of an in-house, so I'll address that one.
Yes.
So once someone applies for an open position, interviews happen fairly quickly. If someone is hired for the position, you would work with the hiring manager to determine a start date that works mutually for both of you. And the onboarding is really once you determine when and how you're going to start, depending on the needs of the role you're applying for, there is training with that manager, with the team you're going to become part of. You may be shadowing. You might be spending your first few days, week or so, shadowing other people doing the same or similar job that you're doing. Having the opportunity to talk to other folks within the company just to be able to get a bigger picture of what's happening in different departments to kind of put all the pieces together. But and then there's a piece of it that's always sort of learn as you go. We all jump in and kind of there's a learn as you go component to it. And that is the onboarding. We have obviously our same kind of onboarding trainings you might have in many behavioral health type of environments, agencies, companies, whether you're doing your trainings, your HIPAA trainings, your safety trainings, your cybersecurity training. You have to go through all that regular type of onboarding, but all that is done virtually. You can do that from your home computer that we to do your onboarding trainings. So
Great, thank you. This is it's such a great it's just very optimistic to think that there's such a great way, as you mentioned, you'll work out on a date to start, so
Mhm.
there's no anxiety here that you have to start in 2 weeks, that it has to be done in a month. I mean, I'm
Right.
assuming it
So
depending, of
right,
course, of the need for the clinic behind the scenes,
right.
but I'm also very, very grateful that you have this opportunity to potentially make it flexible and allow for members to have that flexibility to perhaps discuss it further with the manager. So thank you for that. One other last question before we start getting ready to wrap up. Um, what Let me see. I'm sorry. Okay. To for if you submitted, because I know we had some members that previously submitted for Telemind, but at that moment I think it did not work out. So what can a candidate do to really stand out? As we were discussing earlier today, we're looking for a job is a job
Mhm.
itself. There's a lot of congestion of applications. A lot of employers are really, or pre-screeners, recruiters who go through the process of trying to select the best candidate, often find in the dilemma of who to pick,
Mhm.
right? Who to pick fastest. But how can a candidate stand out in the process of the application process through Telemind? Would you tell someone some best practices, some tips perhaps that will make him stand out during the review process, the initial review?
Sure. And I mean, part of the commitment in trying to make sure we are hiring continually with our military spouse network is try to always go through the MSEP portal. To come in via that way is a great way. If you're not coming in through the MSEP portal, I would take a look at your resume. Some people, they don't really think being a military spouse is like a thing for a resume, but get it on there. It is a real thing. It's hard work. It is. It deserves all the credit it should have. So you want to highlight that you are in fact a spouse. Obviously put in any of your own experience too, if you've been in the military and hiring that way as well. Um, but we also are looking for folks that are interested in kind of longevity. They believe in the mission. They are focused on quality, that they want to add to that's something that's really important to them. So that type of information in your cover letters, highlighting it in previous roles that you've had, that's been what you really focused on. Those are things that would help kind of have resumes pop, or people stand out as well.
Wonderful. I'm glad that you shared that superpower that, yes, voice it on your
Yeah.
resume, you are a
Yeah.
military spouse. Because there might be some other industries or some other applications where being a military spouse may not necessarily be the best sort of a catch or attention grabber on your
Mhm.
resume. But in this case, yes, put it on your
Mhm.
resume, and also use us to get to the opportunities to
Mhm.
Telemind. Reach out to us, MSEP partner, MSEP portal. Right here we have access, we have opportunity to send you out that way. And now, Karen, I always tell individuals I gotta see where I need to go. So if you are in doubt, I did share the link for members to join Telemind directly. We posted it in the comments, but if you're still doubting or you want to know what does that look like, then this is perfect way. This is what the site needs to look like. So make sure that you are here. This about the company. Right here, you can learn more about the company, the great work that they're doing, and then you can also go to careers, and then from careers, you can also find out more about open positions, or just reach out to us and then get together with us to find out. We can reach out to the team about opportunities in general, maybe behind the scenes that might come open, or you can reach through the MSET portal as well, and then you know again just make that connection, and so that you can start working on that. Don't wait until next that you want to get a job for next month. This is a very sort of a structured process that it might take a few months, a few weeks, so prepare now for, I would say, for spring, for the summer, for the fall, for next year when you graduate with your degree in mental health. And so when you complement everything else, start planning. That's what these webinars are for, is for us to introduce you the opportunities for you to start planning and start sort of blocking that roadblock, and that pathway, and saying this is how I see myself doing it in 6 months, in a month. Now I can go find Karen on LinkedIn. I can go find more about Telemind on other great places. Go to the website and stay on guard with future opportunities. Right,
Yes,
Karen?
all of that.
Yes. healthy
All
habits
of
lead to
that,
healthy
yes.
careers. All right.
Mhm.
So we have some pretty good comments, but I did acknowledge all of our friends who are watching and posted it, and we're not shy to share where they were watching. I do want to give us some time to also just do our last call to action for you, Karen, and for you to share a little bit more, any future opportunities that you have going on. So let me just put you on the spot and say, what is one project, one activity Telemind has going on that we can all as a community support you?
Very, very good question again, Laura. We are constantly looking right now to build our clinical outreach, and one of the ways we've been doing that more recently is we've been doing a monthly webinar series that once the webinar occurs, the webinar is then on, you can see it on our website, you can go watch it at your leisure. And we're attempting to tackle a lot of different topics. More recent webinars have been around children and adolescent and issues facing children and adolescents, or parents managing the behaviors of children and adolescents. We have had, I think, we're doing a webinar, traumatic brain injury. So we're working to kind of grow that and have more just resources available. So even if you're not yet ready to come into care, or you're trying to decide, at least there's some tools and resources available for folks. So that's an initiative that we're going to continue to grow over 2025, is really focus on what we can get out there for material and information, and just, even if someone hears something that's helpful and life changing, but they're not yet ready for care, like, it's there for them.
Absolutely. Thank you. So keep us posted on these topics. We'd love to be able to pay it forward and share with the community. So, and now what about you? What is one project, one career pathway? What are you working on that you're not when you have time because you're so busy? And how can we all support you and connect with you?
Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I think I don't know what my next project is. Right now, my project is my own family right this minute, and getting them settled. But uh, it's continued to really, we work for TeleMynd. My next big project is getting us ready to continue. We'll have a new accreditation coming in the upcoming 12 months. So continuing to prepare for that and make sure, again, we're meeting that bar, and our services are good, and our clinicians are delivering great care, and that's my ongoing initiative.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy, busy
Yeah.
schedule to come here to educate us about Telemind, the great work that you guys are doing to produce healthy habits, to provide us healthy habits, or lead us better yet towards healthy habits and healthy careers. Not only that, but it all sprinkles into the entire family, because when we all are very experiencing healthy roadways towards life, it sprinkles into our kids as well and to everybody else in the family. Thank you so much, Karen, for sharing that. And thank you for sharing about your career and your career pathway, how you joined Telemind. For those of you who are watching, and please, again, tag your best friend, your network, individuals who need to know about not only services, but future career opportunities that could benefit their portability in the career in the mental health. So these are telehealth opportunities that are remote, flexible on all 50 states. And so if there's a need, just share with Telemind, and we'll go out in the hunt to find talent, and so start opening barriers out there. So thank you, Karen, for supporting today, and thank you everyone for